Hey everyone, OT Lifehacker here to talk about how to manage eczema. So for those of you who have the skin condition that is called eczema, join my boat. We are going to talk about different strategies that I use for myself, things I've researched in journal articles and such, and applied to myself and found some good strategies that work for me. Now again, everyone has different preferences and different things that work for them, so not everything will work for you, but this channel is to help and this video is to help give ideas to one another, because having options for ourselves to try out doesn't hurt as much, or may not hurt as much as having to deal with something that you're not that you almost feel stuck and that you have to live with it just as it is, and it can even make you feel like you can't do as much as you'd like to. Now, for eczema, that can be something that people experience where they have a flare-up. So their eczema is pretty bad, a lot of itching, pain, irritation, inflammation, all of that. And one, it can look really bad, so maybe hard to go out, hang out with friends, even just to put on clothes, it can be very, very itchy. But yet you'll still want to cover it up because it's so unappealing to see. And then also just from doing simple things as doing dishes. That can be hard because when you're doing dishes, you can have an open wound, or it'll make your skin even more dry from doing the dishes. And then we also have doing things simply like sleep. Sleep is a big one. Sleep is extremely important, and we've talked about this in I believe in the other videos, and I can talk more about it if you're interested on sleep. I do have sleep tips, so that could be something that you want to look at as well to supplement for your what I'm going to share with you about the eczema tips I have for sleep. So now, sleep is something that can be really hard because at night, especially summertime, it can get really hot. And so when you're lying in bed, I'll show you here. When you're lying in bed, you may have, especially under the knees, you can start to feel sweat, and that can make it very itchy. As many of you know who have eczema, sweat can be something that really instigates the symptoms. And then some things that I use to help myself now are moisturizing. So moisturizing constantly, at least a few times a day, super helpful. If your skin ends up getting dry, you're going to start feeling itchy, and that's going to make it even more dry when you itch it, especially if you break the skin, which will lead to or can expose the skin to germs and cause infections, and thus more skin problems and complications. So CeraVe is one of the products that I use, and I love it for its ceramides that helps to give that extra moisturizing component. And all these products, for your information, just for another like visual for yourself, I'll be having in my descriptions for every video, I'll have the list of things that I use, or I'll have the description of the video, the key points, so that you can reference that, because it's always helpful, right, to have video and to have other visuals to look at, and that's why I have all the products for you to see here as well. And then we have Eucerin Eczema Relief, and it's got colloidal oatmeal. And this I found to work really nicely too. Okay, I'll get into the point I was going to say in a little bit. And then this one as well. the Eucerin Intensive Repair. So now both of these products, both of these I like a lot. They don't have a fragrance to it really, and they go on pretty decently onto the skin, but I believe for both of these, because I change it up, both of these, I usually put my moisturizers on my skin when my skin is still damp, but these can be a little hard to spread on your skin when it's damp. I personally still do it. It just makes it a little harder. These go on nice and white and a little thick, not that thick. It's a liquid. It's more of a liquid. And then this one is, well, it's almost used up, so it is like Vaseline colored, which is also what I use. I also use Vaseline as well, and I keep this Vaseline I keep with me right here. Well, you can't see it, but right here on my nightstand. I put it there so that I have access to the moisturizer anytime I need it. And I use it for my lips and for my hands. And then, let's see, this one I keep in the bathroom, same as all of the other ones. These I all keep in the bathroom with me because that's where I get out of the shower and then put on my moisturizers. And whenever I wash my hands, I always, right after, apply the CeraVe Healing Ointment or Aquaphor, which I also have here, or Aquaphor Advanced Therapy Healing Ointment. So basically I use either healing ointments or creams. Lotions I found and also have seen in national websites for skin eczema, that lotions don't work as well. They don't provide as much moisturizing as do the creams and healing ointments. And so, as I mentioned, I wash my hands. After I wash my hands, I will always apply I will always apply the Vaseline, CeraVe, whatever healing ointment I have, to my hands and to my lips. And so I keep a travel size one with me as well. See how it's so old, because it is very old. But also, I mean, you can easily just buy another bottle, but I kind of don't want to use too much plastic, so I just have the big bottles that I keep for home and scoop some into here so I can reuse the bottle. It comes in really handy. I mean, you could even use doesn't even have to be this Vaseline bottle. You could use any bottle, travel bottle that you put Vaseline in and put some on your lips and hands, because I found it really helps keep my lips from getting cracked, and I definitely have to put it on the corners here, because otherwise those end up getting cracked and bleeding. And my hands constantly, if I miss even twice of putting moisturizer on my hands after I shower, well, here's a little bit of that aftermath. If you can kind of see it, can you see it? So here is very, very mild right now. It is healing my eczema. The spots here, 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 and then here. You can see that. Yeah, so my eczema, and also on my fingers, there's little bumps and rough patches. But so the Vaseline helps a lot. CeraVe helps a lot. Any healing ointment I use. You know, the other thing is that, so what I've learned for myself, and of course this may not, it depends on what your goal is. So what I found for myself I don't know if I can show you, but here, I'll show you here. So I have found that it's not exactly a proud thing to say, but I used to adamantly be against myself using the hydrocortisone. See this? This I have as prescription, but you can get the like cortisone over the counter. I think it's less potency, but it still works. But I preferred not to use corticosteroids for myself because just of what I know of it thinning out the skin. But yes, I know that, I mean, listen to what your doctor says, follow their suggestions. But I thought that, oh, you know, I could manage it with all my treatments that I'm using for myself with the lotions and the other things I'm going to tell you about. But then it does get to a point where sometimes it can get really bad and get down into deeper layers and end up leaving scars for you, which it has for me in several places, and my hands included, but right now it's active in those spots, so you can't see the scars. Wonder if you could see here. Okay, so here are, you can barely see it right now, but here are a few of the scars I have on my leg, if you could see that here, kind of. But you can see some of the eczema on my legs, and then some of the scarring. As well as you could also see a little bit of the thinning of my skin. Even though I had followed the instructions I was given, my skin still thinned out, which also goes to show how long I've been dealing with eczema for myself. So I have found that it works best for preventing scars too, so that it doesn't get to be so bad of my, for my eczema. I put on the hydrocortisone when it gets to be even like at this point, or a little bit worse. If it doesn't go away after maybe like a few days with the CeraVe, I will then start to apply this. And honestly, it's pretty effective. It usually works within, dare I say, even a day or 2 days. Like 1 to 3 days, depending on how severe it is and depending on how well I'm managing stress and all of my other treatment strategies, how consistent I am with it. So consistency, that is key. That is very important. Being consistent with whatever your management style is. And now I said I'm gonna go into other things that I use for myself. So some other things are, I have at night, maybe you'll find this for yourself too, you wake up because you find yourself scratching, and sometimes even in your dreams you're scratching and you realize, wait, I think that's happening in real life. So many times I found that for myself to be true, and I decided it is time to put on some mittens on my hands to keep myself from scratching so much. I mean, gloves don't exactly prevent you from rubbing it, but it does still prevent from breaking your skin with your nails. And I also try to maintain my nails from being too long, so they've gotten a little longer, but they are shorter than what I used to have them be, so that I don't scratch, less risk of breaking my skin. So here's my gloves, and I use these for sleeping. I use these for sleeping, and I use them for doing like homework, walking around the house, doing stuff. And I've had these gloves for a long time. They're easy to wash. They're just plain white gloves. They notice that their size is a little on the bigger side, and I I personally prefer that because when my hands get sweaty, so bear in mind when you get sweaty at night, you have to be careful because wearing gloves can actually also be a bad thing for your sweat. If you sweat, you might start getting itchy, and then that can cause irritation within the hands, the fingers, webbings, wherever. And so I prefer wearing the bigger gloves because it's a little more breathable. And there's also more gloves actually designated just for eczema out there. I will put in the description something that's more like what I use, and it's like a basic, cheaper item that maybe you could even just use as a starter for yourself. If you're not quite sure, hey, would gloves work for me? Maybe not invest too high yet and start with the smaller gloves, but I mean, that's your choice, right? You know, let's see, we have, next up is big one, catch the factors before it worsens. So catch the factors that trigger or worsen your symptoms. So first off, you have to figure out, okay, when do my symptoms appear? When do they get worse? What do you think is the cause of this? For me, ding ding, is stress. Stress is a big one for me, as well as temperature. If it's too hot, even if it's cold and I'm wearing tons of jackets, if I start sweating, the moment I start sweating, I am itchy all over. So don't want it to get to that point. And then so also certain clothes can make you itchy. Think of even allergens, potential allergens. What about certain lotions you use, certain smells, like perfumes? That could even be something. The clothes that you wear, besides just itchy, maybe it's the material, the type of fabric it's made out of, as well as detergent could be a big one. I think I started using the sensitive skin or non-aroma detergents. I mean, I use a bunch of different things, so I don't know, I can't isolate how well that works for me by itself, you know. But everything seems to be working-ish. And location is a big thing too. Personally, me being in a colder state, or not colder state, but one that's more humid, helps me a lot versus living in the desert, which I have. Definitely not a good choice for eczema. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So it was a good opportunity for me to really challenge my skincare routine. And that's actually how I got a lot of what I'm doing now. The strategies I'm using, it came a lot from back then when I was in the desert. Okay, and then cleaning. Lots of cleaning, which also with cleaning, I wear gloves. Now these are different gloves. These are your dishwashing, clothes washing, and like what you see with patients and such. These are the gloves that I would use. So also, I vary it up. I either like small or big or in between, medium size. And then I will use these. I also wear these often, and I also take them off before my hands get really sweaty, because once they're sweaty, then what's the point of wearing gloves? It's just gonna be non-breathable and just sticking to me and extremely itchy and worsen my skin problems. So I wear my gloves and do chores like cleaning the bathroom, dusting, washing dishes, washing car. I use gloves for anything that is like a dirty work or cleaning job. And then again, my sleep gloves, if you can see here, the sleep gloves, and so these are the sleep gloves. as well as homework and reading things. I use this for just like relaxing type of stuff. And again, I don't always wear gloves. I change it up so that my hands aren't sweaty. But I use those gloves to help keep the dryness off my hand, especially when the heater is going off. As well as if I just put on moisturizer, it helps to lock in, seal in that moisturizer. And as I mentioned, I clean, I vacuum and wash my sheets. And I'd say you probably want to do this more often than most people, because or at least for me, I get irritated by dust. I'm also allergic to dust, so you know that could be something. But dust really aggravates me, my skin problems, and so I have to make sure everything's clean, clothes, everything. Okay, and then alright, so I will talk about some other strategies I use, such as sleep and eczema, in another video, so look out for that. It was good talking with all of you. Again, please write in the comments below your strategies that you use for eczema or any skin problems, or if you know of people who have eczema, what are some things you know that works for them. Share this video with others, especially those who have experience with eczema. I'd love to know all of your guys' perspectives and own tips that you have. And I think that's it. Good night. Oh yeah, it's nighttime here. Good night.